AI is changing software development faster than any technology in the last 20 years. And if you work in quality assurance, that change is already at your door. Test suites are being written by language models. Bug reports are being drafted by AI tools. Entire testing strategies are being suggested by systems that have read more documentation than any human ever could. Some QA engineers are excited about this. Some are nervous. Most are somewhere in between, trying to figure out what it actually means for their day-to-day work and their career. But here is the thing that gets lost in most of the conversation about AI and jobs. The engineers who understand how to work alongside AI are not going to be replaced by it. They are going to become dramatically more effective. They are going to cover more ground, find more bugs, produce better documentation, and do it all faster than they could before. That is not a threat. That is an opportunity. In this series, we are going to cover exactly how to use AI tools in your day-to-day QA work. We will look at real tools, real workflows, and real limitations. No hype. No fear. Just practical skills you can start using this week. This first episode is about orientation. What AI-assisted testing actually means, where it adds value today, where it falls short, and how to think about integrating it into your existing process without disrupting what is already working. Let's get into it. AI-assisted testing does not mean AI does the testing for you. That framing is both wrong and unhelpful. What it actually means is using AI tools to handle parts of the testing process that are repetitive, time-consuming, or low judgment, so you can focus your attention on the parts that require real expertise. Think about how much time you spend in a typical week writing boilerplate test code, or documenting the steps to reproduce a bug, or reviewing a pull request for missing test coverage, or trying to remember the edge cases for a function you did not write and that has no documentation. These are all tasks where a well-prompted AI tool can give you a solid first draft in seconds. That does not replace your judgment. It amplifies it. The model for thinking about AI in QA is the same model for thinking about any powerful tool. A calculator does not replace a mathematician. It removes the friction of arithmetic so the mathematician can focus on higher-order problems. A spell checker does not replace a writer. It removes the friction of typos so the writer can focus on the argument. AI tools in testing work the same way. They remove friction from the parts of the job that do not require your unique understanding of the system, so you can put that understanding where it matters most. The goal is not to do less work. The goal is to spend your effort on the work that only you can do, and let the tools handle the rest. There are three broad categories where AI currently adds real value in QA. The first is test generation. Given a function signature, a user story, or a description of expected behavior, most modern large language models can generate a reasonable set of test cases. Not perfect ones. Not complete ones. But a strong starting point that covers the obvious paths and many of the common edge cases that are easy to miss when you are moving fast. The second category is documentation and reporting. Writing clear, reproducible bug reports is a skill that takes time and mental energy to do consistently. AI tools can take your rough notes, the observed behavior, the steps you took, the environment details, and structure them into a professional report in seconds. The same applies to test plans, test summaries, release notes, and coverage reports. Anything that is structured and prose-heavy is a good candidate for AI assistance. The third category is code review and coverage analysis. AI tools can look at a code diff and flag areas that lack test coverage, suggest what kinds of tests are missing, and identify risky patterns in the implementation. This is not a replacement for a thorough human review. But as a first pass, it catches things that would otherwise slip through. In each of these three categories, the AI is a collaborator, not an authority. Your job is to evaluate what it produces, correct what is wrong, and apply the judgment that comes from actually knowing the system under test. The AI brings speed and pattern recognition. You bring accuracy and context. Let me make this concrete with a simple example that shows the workflow in action. Suppose you are testing a function that calculates a user's subscription tier based on their usage over the past 30 days. The function takes a usage count and returns one of three values: free, pro, or enterprise. You could spend 15 or 20 minutes thinking through all the boundary cases, writing out test stubs, and making sure you have covered the important scenarios. Or you could paste the function signature into an AI tool, describe what it does in one sentence, and ask for a comprehensive set of test cases. Within seconds, you will have tests for the happy paths, tests for the boundary values at each tier threshold, tests for zero usage, tests for negative values, and tests for values just above and below each cutoff. Now, some of those may be wrong. The thresholds might not match the actual business logic in your system. The expected return values might need adjusting based on how your specific implementation works. But you have a scaffold test suite in 30 seconds instead of 20 minutes. You review it, correct what is wrong, fill in the real expected values based on your requirements, and move on to the next thing. That is the workflow. AI generates the scaffold. You supply the accuracy. Together, you cover more ground faster than either one alone. This is what AI-assisted testing looks like in practice, and once you build the habit, it changes how much you can accomplish in a day. There is an important nuance that most introductions to AI testing gloss over, and it is worth addressing directly because it shapes how you use these tools. AI tools are trained on public data. They have never seen your codebase. They do not know your business rules, your internal APIs, your specific edge cases, or your team's testing conventions. They do not know that your company defines a premium user differently than every other company. They do not know that your checkout flow has a specific edge case around legacy gift card codes. They do not know that your permission system has a non-standard role hierarchy. This means the output of an AI tool is always generic until you make it specific. The quality of what you get back is directly proportional to the quality of the context you provide. A vague prompt gets a vague response. A prompt that includes the function signature, the business rule it implements, the system it lives in, the edge cases that are known, and the testing framework you use gets a genuinely useful response. Learning to write good prompts is a real skill, and we are going to spend an entire episode on it later in this series. For now, the mental model to hold is this. The AI is a very fast, very well-read collaborator who has never worked at your company. Brief them properly, check their work carefully, and you have a powerful assistant. Skip the briefing and you will spend more time fixing their output than you would have spent writing it yourself. The tool is not the variable. The prompt is the variable. Here is where we are after this first episode. AI-assisted testing is not a future trend you need to prepare for. It is a current reality that is already changing how QA engineers work, and the gap between engineers who use these tools well and those who do not is going to keep widening. Over the next 6 episodes, we are going to go deep on the specific tools and workflows that matter most for QA. Episode 2 covers GitHub Copilot specifically, how to use it for writing test code, what the comment-driven workflow looks like in practice, and where you need to be careful. Episode 3 covers using standalone language models to generate test cases directly from requirements documents and user stories, no IDE required. Episode 4 goes deep on prompt engineering for QA-specific tasks. Episode 5 covers AI tools for bug reporting and root cause analysis. Episode 6 covers testing code that AI wrote, which is a growing challenge on teams using Copilot heavily. And Episode 7 brings it all together into a personal workflow you can start using immediately. Each episode is practical. Real tools, real examples, real limitations. If you want to keep up with this series, subscribe now and you will get a new episode every day this week. And if you found this useful, share it with another QA engineer who is trying to figure out where AI fits into their work. We will see you in the next one.